EULEX is the EU rule of law mission in Kosovo. Its task is to ensure law and order. Hans Christian Klasing was a spokesman.
The suspicion is that the Albanian fighters, the KLA, removed organs from captured Serbs at camps in northern Albania, both during the conflict and after the war. The prisoners in question then died, and their organs were sold on the market. This is, of course, a serious war crime.
The KLA is reported to have maintained another prison camp in Kukës, in an old metal factory. Locals confirmed that one of the buildings was used as a hospital. So the KLA would have been able to carry out simple medical procedures here prior to the removal of any organs. A KLA driver who took Serb prisoners to Albania told UN investigators about this place.
The source said that he went to a prison camp near Kukës, where Serbs were held captive. He heard that blood and urine samples had been taken from the prisoners. Soldiers told him that Serbs would be used for their organs, and that the removal of the organs took place in central Albania.
We continued along the route described to us by the UN witnesses to central Albania. One of the KLA drivers recalled how the prisoners pleaded with them.
The Serbs were absolutely desperate. One of the men asked us to kill them straight away. "We don't want to be cut up into pieces," he said. In the early evening, we took them to a house south of Burrell.
According to several former KLA soldiers, only the prisoners who had been chosen for organ removal were taken to Burrell. They were brought to this house south of the town. In 2003, UN investigators actually found suspicious tablets, infusion solutions, and syringes like those used in operations behind the house. One KLA witness told the United Nations that he brought prisoners to this house and spoke of a suspicious smell on the ground floor.
The room was clean and there was a strong smell of medicine. It reminded me of a hospital, a sickly smell. I felt really ill. I thought, this is the only house that I always bring people to, but where I never pick anyone up.
We did some research into the team of UN investigators. One of the experts was the forensic anthropologist José Pablo Baraibar, who had earlier investigated the Rwandan genocide. We arranged to meet Baraibar and asked him about his discoveries in Burrell.
In the house, there was this faint marks covering like a right angle. So as if, let's say, this is a table, and the outside area has these elements that reacted with luminol. So I do recall there was like a right angle, and there were other faint spatulas pretty much on the walls. After we removed the furniture, of course, and the family would say first that they were slaughtering animals in the house during the winter, or then they said that the wife has been giving birth inside the house. But I mean, anyway, both of them are a bit, crazy explanations.
Baraibar spoke in person to the KLA men who would be cited as key witnesses in the UN report. They told him about another site where crimes took place.
In Fushë outside Tirana. They were saying, but again, that all based on this documentation, that yes, they were taking kidneys. As you know, the kidney is quite a quite resistant organ, so to speak, for transplant.
So we headed further south to Fushë, a suburb of Tirana. For some of the kidnapped Serbs, it was their last stop, according to the UN report.
One day before the operation, they were brought to Fushë, to a farmhouse east of the city. The kidneys were removed and then the prisoners were killed. He escorted a car which was used to take the organs to Tirana airport. The people working at the airport were given some money and turned a blind eye. Exactly the same thing happened in Istanbul.
Professor Nancy Shepper-Hughes uncovered an international organ trafficking network that was active in Turkey at the same time as the KLA abducted Serbs and took them to Albania.
The allegations that the KLA militants were, during 1999, removing organs from some of the people who were executed and therefore sent to Turkey is a likely story insofar as Turkey had been, and especially Dr. Josef Sumnez, had been involved in illegal transplants, both with deceased donors and with living trafficked donors.
Does this explain why organs were flown from Tirana to Istanbul at that time? We returned to Kosovo with the knowledge that there was indeed a network of organ traffickers and surgeons linked to the Turkish doctor Yusuf Sönmez. He was still performing illegal transplants in Kosovo as recently as 2008. On the outskirts of the capital, Pristina, we found the Medicus Clinic, a hospital funded by a German doctor. It advertises itself as the German clinic. This is where Sönmez performed illegal kidney transplants until the police closed the clinic down in 2008. The victims were poor Eastern Europeans who had sold their own organs. The ULEX law enforcement agency has since charged Sönmez with performing illegal operations. We wanted to talk to Sönmez about the accusations and asked him if he had had any contact with KLA organ traffickers. But Sönmez said he wanted 100,000 euros for an interview, money he said he would donate to a charity project. We turned down the offer. ULEX is now investigating both the KLA's organ trafficking and the more recent Medicus case.
We've also begun investigations relating to a Turkish doctor. Our public prosecutor traveled to Istanbul and is now working together with the Turkish authorities, who are very helpful. It's also interesting that in the indictment, the public prosecutor has confirmed that there is a lead to Germany. An elderly German gentleman is said to have been among the recipients of the kidneys.
We returned to Germany to look for the owner of the Medicus Clinic. Dr. B is a urologist. We wanted to question him about the illegal transplants in his clinic and hold an initial conversation in Berlin. When we officially requested an interview, Dr. B threatened us with legal action. We followed another lead and tracked down the German kidney recipient mentioned in the ULEX indictment. The wealthy entrepreneur lives in North Rhine-Westphalia. He didn't wish to speak to us. We met his son, who confirmed that the illegal transplant in Kosovo did take place. He says his father would probably not have received a kidney by legal means. So instead, he paid 82,000 euros to the organ traffickers.